was as small as a hamster or a mouse, but with the speed of a tiny furry bullet. So the first order of business, how to find this elusive, deadly rodent and get rid of it. Here's where it gets complicated, because I have a dog. And my dog is a connoisseur of all things dead and disgusting. Setting out poison, even if just inside the closets, is a terrible idea. Most times, if I open those closets, she's already sniffing around in there, convinced it's a treasure trove. After all, there are bags of birdseed in one closet. That would be that closet over here. Hello, potential rodent buffet. And a garbage container in the other closet, the one behind me. Thankfully, though, a lid on the garbage container means no easy access there. So this one has a garbage container with a lid on it, this closet here, and it's got some other junk in there. So thankfully, a lid on the garbage container means no easy access there. So putting out some type of rat poison would be catastrophically bad, and if this thing ate the poison but didn't die right away, it could easily scurry into a different room. My dog, with her uncanny ability to sniff out a dead squirrel from 5 blocks away, would find it and eat it, because she loves to get hold of dead things and hurry up and eat them before I can yank it out of her mouth. Imagine, if you will, this tiny rodent is an atheist. It's small, quick, and from its perspective, the human looks really, really large. It's scared of this rather immense, looming being. Now imagine that really large human hovering over it is a large group, say Christianity. So you have a vast, organized group, Christianity, hovering over the small critter, the atheist. They seek the atheist's destruction. They want to get rid of the atheist in one form or another, to destroy the atheist or throw it out of what they consider their territory before he or she has a chance to reproduce. Ideas, that is, reproduce being the atheism's ideas. And spread disease. So before he or she has a chance to reproduce and spread disease, aka reason and critical thinking. Atheists are, let's be honest, a minority among a large population of Christians here in the United States and elsewhere. Therefore, the similarity to the little rodent I saw this morning and the atheist can be in rather close comparison. Christians are a very large group and the majority of the population. Thus, the comparison to a large human hovering above that of the small rodent. Christians, it seems, wish to destroy atheism. They see atheists as a threat, as if we're invading what Christians consider to be their territory. Because you see, Christians want to continue believing the bullshit. I mean, the sacred texts. But to do so, they must seek atheism's destruction, as they are deathly afraid atheists' viewpoints will reproduce and develop more atheists, and worst of all, spread their disease to others, including to members of the Christian sect. And the Christian cannot allow this poison of free thought to infect them. So they seek the atheist's destruction in one form or another. So in comparison to the human and the small rodent, the large human is the large group of Christians, Christianity. And the small elusive rodent is atheism. And just like I couldn't identify the rodent or predict what it would do next, I'm terrified it will reproduce, spread some type of actual disease, or cause harm to the property, myself, or my dog in some way. But here's the kicker. If I'm not careful on how I go about getting rid of this pesky critter, I could harm the dog whom I love deeply. If I up and destroy the critter without thinking it through thoroughly and cautiously, I could do more unintentional damage to the dog. The dog could even die if I'm not careful how I go about this. This is where the analogy truly bites. Christianity and trying to destroy atheism is, to put it mildly, not being careful on how they go about it. And they are doing it out in the open for all the world to see. And if they are not being careful, they could do further harm to themselves while seeking to destroy us atheists. In seeking the destruction of atheism, how may they damage themselves, you ask? Well, Christianity is busy destroying its own self. The tactics they use, the bigotry, the hate, the manipulation, the relentless pursuit of political power, the denial of science, people are starting to wake up and see Christianity for what it really is. However, many Christians are refusing any new information to come into their heads. They're plugging their ears to reason, to compassion, to basic human decency sometimes. And meanwhile, they are not only destroying Christianity as a whole, they are destroying their own self, one person at a time, through the very dogmatism they embrace. To Christians, us atheists are often seen as vermin, worthy of extermination. However, the crucial difference between us atheists and actual vermin is that we are humans and Christians are humans. Therefore, Christians should not be above us, hovering over us like a large human does over a small rodent, seeking its destruction. No, Christians and atheists are both humans, and therefore should be on equal footing. We atheists shouldn't be looking up and seeing them hovering over us, but we should be standing and looking straight across and right into their eyes. So atheists aren't rodents worthy of extermination, and we are not vermin invading Christians' territory as the same territory that Christians live in, their society, their country, is ours as well. We share this country with them, or at least we should be sharing. But Christians often act like they're hogging the country. They've taken over and seek the destruction of anyone on the outside who refuses to convert. We, who are not only atheists but also ex-Christians, must keep telling our horror stories of the religion and sharing our knowledge with others who are willing to listen. The one way we are like vermin, in their eyes at least, is that we reproduce by spreading disease. This disease Christians see as atheism. Therefore, we must be destroyed. But here's the actual truth. It's really the Christians who are the vermin spreading their actual disease. They do so through a book of fables, through insidious manipulation tactics, through childhood indoctrination that steals intellectual freedom, through fear, through bigotry and hatred, through discrimination. This, my friends, is the real disease. And what's the cure? Well, as the great Christopher Hitchens once put it, what can be asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. The cure for Christianity, then, is atheism and the destruction of the disease, which is Christianity. Not the destruction of people, but the destruction of the harmful ideology itself. Now we're on to the frequently asked questions. Now, after listening to what I had to say in the video, here are some questions you may have about what I've said and the answers to which I am giving to those perceived questions. So, question number 1. So, are you seriously comparing all Christians to a big, destructive human and all atheists to a terrified rodent? My answer? Not literally, no. It's an extended, sarcastic analogy designed to highlight the perceived power imbalance and the often aggressive, fearful reactions from some dominant religious groups towards minority non-believers. The goal is to provoke thought about the dynamics, not to make a literal comparison of people to animals. It's about criticizing the ideology and behavior, not individuals. Question number 2. And again, I apologize. Right now in the hallway here, I'm holding a stick, and therefore it's kind of moving around a little bit. You'll have to excuse me on that. So again, now we're on to question 2. Are you advocating for the destruction of Christians or just Christianity? My answer, absolutely the latter. When I say destruction of Christianity, I mean the dismantling and widespread rejection of the ideology, its harmful dogmas, and the oppressive power structures it often builds. I am not, under any circumstances, suggesting harm to individuals. This podcast, and atheism in general, is about human flourishing and compassion, free from religious coercion. Question number 3. How can atheism be a cure for Christianity if you're not trying to convert people? My answer? Atheism isn't a conversion in the religious sense. It's a lack of belief. The cure comes from critical thinking, skepticism, and embracing reason over blind faith. When people apply these tools, the disease of Christian dogma, as described, fables, manipulation, fear, bigotry, and so on, often loses its hold. It's about empowering individuals to think for themselves, which naturally leads many away from dogmatic control. Question number 4. You mentioned being an ex-Christian. How does that influence your perspective? My answer? Being an ex-Christian gives me an intimate, lived understanding of the internal mechanisms and external pressures of the religion. I've experienced the indoctrination, the community, the fear, and the eventual disillusionment firsthand. This perspective allows me to critique Christianity from a place of personal experience informed by what it felt like to be on the inside, which often resonates deeply with others who have similar stories.